invite Prof. Chua to start the presentation?
Thanks, Kejin. Can you allow me to share screen? All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep, can.
Can, huh? Am I loud enough?
Okay.
Yep.
Let me see whether the volume is okay, right? Can hear? Huh?
Yes, the volume's okay.
Okay, good. Sorry for the little hiccup just now. Was trying to log in. All right. So not sure whether I met many of you. I'm Prof. Chua, running the EPD pillar. And for today's session, I thought I will share 10 to 15 minutes of what EPD is. Basically, EPD education comes with a difference. I think a lot of students, even before joining SUTD, they were always asking what is the key difference between EPD and maybe all the other engineering programs in Singapore, such as those at NTU or NUS. So I would like to share with you 10 differences or 10 attributes that you will find very unique at SUTD. First of all, right at the top, you can see point number 1, we are industry and future ready. So it's important for our graduates to be ready for the industry. And hence this dialogue with industry is an ongoing process, always making our curriculum ahead of what the industry is doing. And that's why later I'll share a little bit with you about Industry 4.0. Now, it is also very important for us to get you future ready. Mainly because after you have learned those things in school, you find that 5 years, 10 years, some of the things you learn may change or may be updated. So upskilling and relearning, even unlearning some of the things you learned before may have to relearn. So this skills future that the government has put in place is very relevant. So I even encourage you not just to take a continuing education, but even further yourself with masters, for instance, in a certain specific domain. So always be ready to learn for the rest of your life. Point number 2 is about holistic education. I think 11 years ago when we started SUTD, we want to make sure our student has a very holistic education. It's not just about rigor in what you learn technically, but also to make sure that whatever you work on, there's always the understanding about the environment around us, about the product that you design will harm the environment. So you learn about culture, ethics, humanities, legal aspect, as well as sustainability. One of the things we realize from many employers is that they like our students because of our problem-solving skills. So it's very important that you go out there, not only armed with the tools to solve problems, but also questioning the problem itself. In fact, sometimes the problem itself is worded wrongly. So asking the right questions, and then in terms of solutions, there's always why not this and why not that, and finding the optimal set of solutions. So this is important for us, that you are always very critical in terms of looking at a problem very holistically and also solving the right problem. Now, collaborative is something we want to reflect of the industry. When you go out to work, you will find that it's seldom that you operate alone. It's usually in a team. So for instance, you're doing a product development, you realize that there are folks from manufacturing, from electrical, mechanical, even materials, plus even those in the supply chain, plus those at the shop floor. You find that you will always work in a team. So it's important to have this collaborative mindset. And this is very much part and parcel of the DNA of the entire SUTD. You find that the students, the staff, they all work very collaboratively, even across the pillars. So one of our new tracks, Industry 4.0, is actually offered through all the different pillars and clusters. Now, our cohort size is very small. We are a very small university as compared to NTU and NUS, and we treasure that because that means that you will have actually a maximum exposure with your profs. You will have more time for interaction, and that will enhance your learning. 6, non-traditional pedagogy. You'll find that when you come in at freshman, you are always grouped in cohort, and it's very good. Then you get to know your classmates very well, and you will realize for the rest of your life, even after you go out work, that networking is very important. It all starts from knowing your classmates in SUTD. Now, in every project that you do, you'll find it's multidisciplinary, right? That's why our EPD is to train you in the output, which is a product. So, and a product, as you look around today, is neither just mechanical or electrical or electronics. In fact, you need to know about manufacturing, the materials, and sometimes even chemical or biological things. So multidisciplinary approach is important. Now, D is very much in the university's name. So you find that you need to know about design thinking in every project. In every module you do, you'll find that the design component is there. And that goes also hand in hand with point number 9, which is the hands-on experience. You will find that typically EPD undergrad will undergo almost 20 to 30 design projects. So it's to get you really hands-on, able to solve the problems with your hands. And this is what the industry really like about graduates. Last but not least, I think it's important that our graduates are the people who will transform the industry, to develop new products, to come up with new growth areas for Singapore. And we would like to think that you are a new breed of design engineers. This is something that just came out very recently, a few months back in Straits Times, published on 30th March. And you can find that the employment of our 2020 graduates landed full-time job. And in fact, they also earn vis-a-vis their other peers in NTU and NUS a much higher starting pay, which is good. It means that the employers out there value our graduates by giving them a higher starting pay. And we find our graduates are actually employed in all the key industries out there that even extends beyond communication, finance, insurance, and even those in R&D, such as the DSO. So it's not just in manufacturing or in pharmaceutical. So it's very diverse employment for our graduates. This is also on the same day in another paper published on 30th March, which talks about the crunch, the talent crunch, especially in the area of product engineers. So it's well sought after. They find that this is a talent which is right now very much sought after by many companies, such as Dyson. You'll find that many companies actually are knocking on our doors for our graduates, especially in the area of product development. So these are the employment data for over the last 5 years. So 2020, our numbers are very healthy, and this also is a sampling of the kind of companies that actually employ our people. In fact, they are all our friends. AMD gave us a track price for EE. DSO just gave us $30,000 for our electric vehicle 3D printing project. DSTA has taken quite a number of guys. Dyson is going to do a joint lab with SUTD, the first time in SUTD. So it's going to be quite a big lab, and there will be a physical presence, and you can feel the Dyson actually on campus, and so on and so forth. So you can find that many of the companies actually treasure our students very much, especially Alliance Board, which is our own very spin-off of Mohan, one of our profs who is great in developing his work, bringing it down to commercialization. I'll share a little bit more later. All right, so let me just highlight a few of our faculty. So first up is Prof. Wei. Prof. Wei is a very prolific material scientist who has done a lot of work. You see, it's not just fundamental research, but also application in two very important areas. One is energy and the other is water. So she's applying what she has done fundamentally to transform what is very important to Singapore, which is in the case to do with water. So she has recently landed a very big project with PUB dealing with water. Mohan, I briefly mentioned earlier, has designed and made a robot that we are very proud of in Singapore. So right now it's been sold to 24 countries, over 300 units. So we are talking about commercial products that's being sold out there, and that has the branding from SUTD. So this is very interesting because he has actually managed to take fundamental research down to the product level. So his products are focused very much on cleaning. So he started Alliance Board basically to take care of the very mundane, very labor-intensive cleaning industry. So it has really transformed what you see, not in Singapore, but worldwide in terms of robot. But after that, he has also launched another company called Oceania, which now is able to handle vertical walls. So like those in the ship, or even glass panels in buildings. So he has robots that not only can clean horizontally up the staircase but also vertically on the walls. So these are the kind of our colleague has done. So here, Prof. Xiao Hui, later we'll hear from him. He's also the chair for undergraduate curriculum. So his work is a bit different from Mohan. Well, Mohan most actually either on the ground or on the vertical walls. Xiao Hui's are those flying in the air. So drones, a very exciting area. He's someone who has done very well, especially in his very specific auto-rotating wings. In fact, he has landed many funding, especially from the defense side. So very useful for military, for defense. Prof. Hong Yi, my deputy for the EPD pillar, will be sharing later about research. But this is a research where she worked with Prof. Meiji on carbon capture. As you know, sustainability is a very big thing. And soon you'll hear about some plans that SUTD has in terms of sustainability. And this will be very important. So can we go towards zero carbon? Can we go towards the direction where we promote the circular economy? So this is one of the very nice projects. I think recently they have landed a funding based on their very nice ideas of reducing CO2. All right, let me share a little bit about the areas in which you will go to after graduation. So on the left, you can see 8 nice yellow circles. These are the different sectors. Can be marine offshore, aerospace, like I've said, is very diverse. You can go into any of these industries and play the role in as an engineer, whether it's a mechanical or even to do looking after the machine, looking at quality control and things and so on. Or you can actually develop new products like Dyson. You know, they are famous for their consumer products. Or you can go into research like with DSO. So you can see that the whole wide range of jobs are actually possible as shown in this slide. And these are the companies that have actually employed our students. And over here are some of your seniors, those who have graduated and from different tracks and also working in different industries, both government as well as private. Now, there are some of you who prefer to upgrade yourself. You want to go on to do your master's and even PhD. These are some examples again of your seniors who have gone on either to US like MIT and Stanford, or even to ETH Zurich, one of the top universities in Europe. And of course, you can also stay back to do a PhD with our colleagues here. So there are 2 of them here. Now, this is a track that most students do not take. But if you have the inclination to start up, to do a business, that you are very entrepreneur in your thinking and all that, then there's also the opportunity. So we have students who have come up with very nice IP and they go on to startups. So we strongly encourage our students to take the innovation further. So the idea is that, well, who knows, one of you may become a unicorn. That's $1 billion raising of funds. So we are very proud of some of the folks that you see here. For instance, Olivia, who has done the 3D printed ring, and Ken Chua, who has done this disabilities, basically to help people with disabilities. Yeah. So we have a strong record of producing valedictorian every year. So these are the ones in the past, and actually over this weekend we will have the 2021 one, and then in October we have 2020 cohort as well, and you'll see more EPD valedictorians. All right, I mentioned Ken Chua earlier on. So he was voted 30 under 30 Asia Social Entrepreneurs. So we're very proud of him because of the way he has designed products, which is to help people with disabilities, working with apps and also inclusive products. All right. Let me share quickly about this track, which we launched just last year. So it's brand new. The idea is that we want our graduates to go out there and transform the industry. Now, if you look at these building blocks, most all of them are actually covered in our syllabus, except for 3D printing. So I introduced 3D printing last year together Industry 4.0 as a subject. And you can take this whole basket of courses so that you are actually specialized in this track. And this is in great demand by industry. And because of this importance, you can realize from this chart that we have actually quite a lot of industry sponsor study awards from Makino, Mayban, Autodesk, and also Dyson will give us a project for 3D printing. So part of this is also working closely with industry in our internship, plus taking modules overseas in lieu of the courses at SUTD. So we have partnered quite a lot of universities around the world in US, Europe, as well as Asia. This is the James Dyson 3D printing award that we have last year. So this is a project that myself and Prof. Hui Hing actually run, and we'll be continuing next year the second run of this. So this was very nice because they work on the theme of musical instrument. All right, these are some of the top 3 projects. So the students did very well and impressed Dyson. Okay, there are more entries here. All right, I will stop here, and thank you very much for your attention. I suppose there will be Q&A at the end, right?
Yes, there will be a Q&A at the end.
Yeah. So over to you, Hong Yi.
Okay, thanks, Chikai. I think that's a fairly good overview of EPD. So welcome, the Freshmore. My name is Hong Yi. I'm the Associate Pillar Head of EPD, but I'm also the Director of the Digital Manufacturing and Design Research Center. So not surprisingly, my quick talk is going to cover research and the impact of research. And this is one of my favorite quotes, right, of that says that most of tomorrow's economy is being born today in university research lab. And I don't know, I think how many of you pay attention to the fact that most of the top universities in the world, they are top for primarily, for their kind of reputation in research. So since Professor Chachika has mentioned, kind of highlighted a few research topics in EPD, I'm not going to repeat them. I'm going to show you an example of what this slide actually kind of meant to say, how research result in, economic, contributing to economic by creating startup. Next slide, please, Nadia. Yes, let's move on to the few startups that we're gonna highlight. Despite how small we are, we actually have a number of fairly, I would say, impressive startups, right? So Professor Chika has mentioned about Lions Board. So again, I'm not going to repeat this, but this is certainly one of our startup that we never thought of kind of blowing our trumpet on. So if you're interested, find out more from Professor Mohan. Next slide, please. So this is another startup by Professor Ye Ai, and the company is called Cell Wave Technologies. So he has, through his research, developed a microfluidic-based kind of self-sorting device based on acoustic technologies. So the startup was formed early last year and has been fairly successful in getting funding. So again, if you're interested in microfluidic, you're interested in healthcare, Professor Ye Ai is one person to talk to. Next slide. This is one that I was personally involved. So this was a startup by, in fact, one of our pioneer EPD students by the name of Nicholas O. So the startup was co-founded by Professor Joel Yang and myself. So both of us, had been working on nanoscale fabrication. So Nicholas got really interested in it, did a capstone related to nanofabrication, and decided to spin off a company. So the company is operating and doing fairly well. It's one of the very few companies in Singapore that provide state-of-art nanofabrication solutions to companies here. Next slide. Now, this one called Chitonus Private Limited is by Professor Javier Fernandez. So Chitonus actually commercializes biodegradable material that is, suitable for all kinds of manufacturing processes. It's one of the interesting, manufacturing technique today is related to Industry 4.0, 3D printing. So he has shown the biodegradable material to be fairly, kind of easily adopted, across the traditional manufacturing to 3D printing. And interestingly, this has won quite a number of awards. So sustainability, biomaterial, if you're interested in this field, talk to Professor Javier. Next. This one, Professor Feng Xiaohui, since he's here, I'd like to invite him to kind of say a few words about this spin-off robotics.
Yeah, thanks, Feng. Yeah, so I'm Xiaohui. My students and I, we've been working on some research on drones. So we have been doing quite a lot of interesting work. One of them that we work on, maybe you can see in the right image there, is for inspection of MRT. I think this is something that I'm sure you all can relate to. Inspecting of the infrastructure in Singapore is very important. And actually it costs more to maintain infrastructure rather than build it. Building is very easy. Maintaining something is a lot harder. And there's a lot of inspection that requires you to be at height, at elevated portions, which is very dangerous. You need people to climb up, either climb out or use heavy machinery to bring you up. So what we have done is actually to make use of drones. I'm sure you've seen drones before, but drones I think most of the time you see are fairly small. And most of the time you use it to take pictures, right? For Instagram and all your social media. But you can actually fit out a drone with more industrial components such that you can actually do more intensive tasks. That can be cleaning. So you can see the picture in the middle. That's us flying our drone that is cleaning the super tree in the Gardens by the Bay. Yeah, so the super tree needs maintenance as well. It doesn't look nice by itself. You have to constantly upkeep it. And then the left one there is actually something that you also use almost every day, the shelter walkway. When you go from the bus interchange, you walk to the train station or to take the bus, you will walk under shelter walkway. And all this requires cleaning, maintenance, inspection. And again, most of the time you don't see it, but somebody needs to climb up and do the inspection. So we actually have a prototype here or a series of systems here that will hopefully automate to reduce the need for humans to be on an elevated portion, so make things to be less dangerous, safer, and quicker. Yeah, so that these important infrastructure can be maintained and you can use them safely every day. Yeah.
Thank you, Xiaohui. Our next one, last one that I'll share today, although I'm pretty sure this won't be the last one in EPD. This is a startup called Easy MRI by Professor Huang Xiaoying. So I guess most of you are familiar with the MRI as a diagnostic tool. And today's MRIs are extremely costly, and these diagnosis only done in hospitals. So Xiaoying has been kind of aspired to make these accessible portable imaging tool, and she already have a couple of prototype and it's moving towards commercializing them. So I think that's all that I have today to share with you. I don't want to bog you down with too many, but I hope that it sends you a strong message that the range of research in EPD, you really go from robotic to material to nanoscale to healthcare or life science related diagnostic solutions. Now, if you're interested in research, especially for the fresh mod, how do you get yourself started? Can we move to the next slide? Next slide, Nadia. Oh, sorry, I forgot that I wanted to show this slide about D&D research. I mentioned at the beginning that I'm also running the Digital Manufacturing and Design Research Center. And the research activity here has very, very strong relevance to Industry 4.0. But very interestingly, D&D's research actually is a collaboration across all the 4 pillars in SUTD. So if you are ever around Building 1, Level 7, when you're allowed to be in campus, swing by the D&D studio and find out more. Okay, next slide is where I was going to tell you what you're going to do if you are interested in research, right? So you probably have heard of the Europe programs. The nice thing about the Europe program is it comes with a funding that you can use. But also, if you're not sure, what research program, what research proposal you're going to submit, do a simple research attachment in the lab, and also look out for student helper announcement, right? Sometimes you can actually get paid being a student helper in research lab. These kind of various options for you to explore, research, whether research is for you. I think I have one last slide. And how do you reach out to the professors? Apparently, these are some of the questions I often ask, especially by students, right? Feel free to bring up your interest with your academic mentors, even if your academic mentor is not from EPD or the relevant pillar, they will always be able to link you up. Remember, we are a fairly small university. Most of the professors across the pillar pretty much know each other, right? approach our note. You're going to hear from them in a little while. Look out for research talk announcements in email, check out research publication, and always don't be shy to write to the professor directly. I think you will learn from your senior here that, we are fairly approachable. So I'm going to end with this note here.
So next, I would like to invite Prof. Xiaohui to elaborate more about our EPD curriculum. Prof. Xiaohui, please.
Xiaohui, I think you're still on mute.
I know. I was testing it. Yeah, so I've shared my screen. Hopefully you all can see it. So what I will do right now is just to give you an overview of what the SUTD curriculum is. So what I have right here is the overall SUTD curriculum. So sorry, I'll go through the EPD curriculum. So here I have the overall SUTD curriculum, which spans 8 semesters. So right now you are in the first semester, long way to go, and of course a lot of nice, interesting journey ahead of you. So the first 3 semesters that you can see here are the freshmore, 1, 2, and 3. So then you will finish your freshmore by the end of term 3. So that's where you actually select your whichever pillar that you want to go to. From 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, these are semesters that you will be doing in the pillar. Of course, if you decide to do ASD, there's a 9 and 10 for the master's degree. But for all the rest of the ESD, ISTD, and EPD curriculum, it will end at term 8. So let me go through. Let me see where's my slide. Yeah. Right, so this is the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in greater detail, right? So I don't show 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is common for every pillar. So I will just focus more on the 4, 5, 6, 8. So 4 and 5 are what we call the beginning semesters of EPD. Normally you are called the junior junior in this area. And this encompasses this part here, right? So there's the first term in EPD, which is term 4, will encompass 3 core classes. You can see they are darker is because these are pillar core. Pillar core means you must take this course. It encapsulates structures, circuits, and our signature course 30007. Yeah, so 30007 is actually the EPD version of the 3007, which is more applied to EPD. And of course, you can see every semester there's HAS. That one you cannot get by about it. Term 5 is also still within pillar core. You have 2 courses that you must take. One is of course system and control, which I teach. And this course computational and data-driven design, driven engineering. And for the third course, you can choose between 2, either fluid mechanics or EM. The reason for this choice is actually they are actually the same course. You actually try to solve and understand partial differential equations, but it's either applied for fluid systems, for mechanical. If you're interested in mechanical, you will probably take fluids. If you're more inclined towards electrical, you will probably take towards EM or electromagnetics and applications. So that will set you off for the pillar course, and this will give you a very good foundation. So many students, after they do here, they will either go for an internship, possibly from September to December, they can do an internship. You can also go and exchange. If you are interested to do the global exchange, you can also do it here. And of course, you can also take a break, do nothing, relax, right? And then come back for term 6. So term 6 is where we have the start the pillar electives. So this is where you can, depending on which tracks that you want to choose within EPD, you will choose different classes. Some students also try to have their internship as here as well. That means the term 6, as well as the 2 semesters before and after, there's some degree of adjustment. So if you want to have an exchange at a certain semester, you can use this to go between the 3 semesters. And then finally, when you come back for term 7 or 8, this is actually marked by the 2 key classes here, the capstone. Right, so then everybody must take, no matter what pillar you are. And then you of course have to choose the advanced pillar electives. These are in blue, dark blue, in term 7 and term 8. And then once you're that, you will finish the EPD curriculum. I will go through this in detail. Right? So these are some of the courses that we can take. I think, if I'm not mistaken, EPD has the largest number of electives among all the pillars in SUTD. So you can see these are all the different courses that you can choose to take. Right? A lot of interesting materials. If you're interested into robotics, there's intelligent robotics. Manufacturing, if you're very big into healthcare, we actually have like 2 classes: healthcare, product design, and then we also have the nano electronics and technology. And of course, Prof. Trust, this is the signature class, Industry 4.0 and 3D printing. It's very, very popular class as well. So maybe I will talk about the 7 tracks. So once you decide EPD is your pillar of choice, then you have to choose between the 7 tracks. And I think EPD, among all the pillars, right, we have the most number of tracks. So we give you a lot of flexibility in what you want to pursue. So there's one with the BI, the Industry 4.0 track is the new one that we just launched. We also have robotics, healthcare engineering design, as well as computer engineering. We also have something that if you want to be a little more traditional, we have the electrical and mechanical engineering tracks. So these are more suited for people who potentially want to pursue a professional engineer. So a professional engineer is somebody who can sign off building plans and stuff like that. So if you intend to have a career as a professional engineer, you should take either the EE tracks or the ME tracks, because these tracks are certified by the PE board, the Professionals Engineers Board of Singapore. And last but not least, we have this thing called the self-directed program, which is in case any of these tracks do not interest you, or you want to do something that is really specific, but that is not within any of the tracks, you can choose to do so. It's called a self-directed program. Right, so maybe I explain the self-directed. Self-directed means you literally for term 6, 7, and 8, as well as this course, this part where you need to choose, you can take any EPD course that you want. Right, you can choose whatever courses that's available. You can take it because it's self-directed. You get to choose whatever course. You can even choose to take courses from the other pillars as well. Right, we allow you up to replace up to 3 EPD courses with courses from all around the pillars. So you can take ESD, ICD, courses that you like. And also, of course, you want to take DI, also possible as well. And then maybe I'll go through into detail for robotics. I won't go through all of them. For robotics, you can see now, if you choose robotics, the number of courses that you have to select is a lot smaller. So here you can see the courses that you have to choose is less. Right? There's a set range that you have to choose. So all these numbers, 30, 104, 105, 110, 111, all these are individual classes in that semester that you can choose to take that. And then you can see that some tracks here, don't worry, we'll send this out to you, have something that is red. Red, that means this is a restricted track elective. That means if you're in the robotics track, you must take this class. So it's no surprising if you're in robotics track, you must take the intelligent robotics class from EPD, right? It doesn't make sense if you don't take it. So that's why this one is in red. So you cannot replace this course. Every time you see an asterisk here, it means you can replace this with any other course. It can be an EPD, or you can replace it with a cross-pillar class, some class that's from other pillars. Maybe just before I go on, I'll just go through one that is a little special. So for ME track, so this one is a little special because it has the, you see that you must take fluid mechanics, you cannot take electromagnetics, you must take this machine element design. So what is important here is that for the electives here, you can't choose any electives. You have to choose something within the approved electives. And the approved electives it's not like there's no electives. It's just this list is a little more restricted due to the requirements of the PEB. So you can still choose classes or take courses that are outside this pillar, but you must be within this list. So only 2 tracks in EPD has this sort of restriction, is the ME and EE tracks. And again, this is not because we chose to implement it, it's because the PEB, the Board of Engineers in Singapore, decided that if you want to be a professional engineer, this is something that you have to enforce. Right, so this is the thing, I think we can share this. I think Prof. Chua already went through the Beyond Industry 4.0. This is actually a relatively new track, and very few, I don't think the other universities have something close to it yet. I think they're probably starting. And as you can see, if you're interested in any of these areas, in SUTD, we have many classes that cover all these areas, like cybersecurity, materials, 3D printing, Internet of Things. We actually have a IoT class, wireless, machine learning, AI, you name it here, we have the course here. And if you take the BI track, you will be able to take all this as well. So this is the EPD curriculum, main curriculum. I want to mention about some of the minor programs that you can take as an EPD student. So there actually right now there are 5 minor programs that you can take. One is of course the DIVE minor, stands for Design, Innovation, Ventures, and Chairmanship. So here, if you are particularly interested to start off your company, like you want to create a company in the future, I highly recommend you pursue the DIVE minor. It's actually organized or fronted by EPD pillar. Other than that, you can also have the AI and CS minor from ISTD. You can also have the Engineering Systems minor from ESD, as well as the 2 HAS minors, the DTS, the Design, Technology, and Society, as well as the Digital Humanities minor. I'll just go through them in short form. So for every minor, you just need to take 5 courses, and how each of the minor programs require you is a little different. For the dive minor, you have to take these 4 courses. Actually, as an EPD student, it's not difficult to take the 4 because you can see these are EPD, these are all EPD classes already, and you just need to choose the entrepreneur capstone. So 4 of the courses is very done. To complete dive minor, you just need to choose one from the rest. Very simple. So I would suggest if you're really interested in to pursue entrepreneurship or to potentially want to start your own company, this is a great minor program. Another one that's popular is of course the AI minor. So here it requires you to take 3 classes from ISTD. Of course, you have to take machine learning, AI, some of the basic stuff. And then from the last 2, you can choose between this selection here. You will notice here I bolded is, and the reason why I bolded is because these 3 are EPD courses. So if you choose the EPD courses here, you will not need to overload, because if let's say you decide to take some other classes like network security, computer vision, you can still do it to take the minor, just that you will have to overload because you have to satisfy both your minor requirements and your pillar requirements. But if you choose the one in both, you will be able to count that as both. In addition to the AI minor, there's one that's also quite popular, which is CS minor. This is from, again, the ISTD pillar. The requirements are quite similar. You have 3 courses that you must take from EPD, from ISTD, and then the last 2 you saw I can take from selection from here. Right? And then some of the core classes that you can take from some CSD are listed here. So if you're interested, you can take a look at this. If you are in, let's say, the BI4 track, this is quite easy to do because BI4 has a lot of cross-pillar classes that you can take. Just to finish off, the last few is you can do an ES minor. That's not so popular recently, but I mean, if you're interested in ESD material, you can actually take an ES minor. So again, you have 2 courses here. Sorry, 1 course here, 1 course here, and then you have to take 2 from this list here, and the remaining 2 from this list. And again, to make life easier for you, I bolded the EPD courses so that if you choose to take this ES minor, if you take the EPD courses here, you'll be able to double count them. And then I think the last one, I think that's it. Yeah, I think the last 2 is the TTS minor, so I don't think I will go through that. Yeah, and that's all I have.
Right. Thank you, Prof, for sharing all this. Next up is the sharing by EPD node. So EP node, Revanti, Revanti as well as Hui Kang.
It will just be me for today, in the interest of time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So before I start, I just want to say a warm welcome to all the freshies here. I hope school's been okay. So just to introduce myself, I'm Revati and I'm a representative of EPD node. Next slide, please. So just to give a brief summary of what EPD node is and what we do, we are basically that connecting bridge between the EPD students and the faculty or admin. So we regularly conduct surveys and hold feedback sessions to address concerns EPD students might have. It could be academic related or even non-academic related, literally anything. Yeah, so we also organize events for the EPD community to promote bonding and cohesiveness between the students and the faculty. So on top of that, we also provide opportunities for EPD students to interact and network with our industry partners. So to the right, as you can see, is the organizational structure. We have the pillar rep, who is Shini. I think she's in the chat. Yeah. Then we have the events, outreach, and marketing teams. I'm part of the events team. Next slide. So these are actually some of the events we do organize for the batch. We hold welcome back sessions every single term. So pre-COVID, it was always a physical event with lots of food and mingling between the students and faculty. But of course, now everything has been shifted online, right? But attendees still get Gongcha vouchers and GrabFood vouchers. So it's still something. We organize EPD forums too. So earlier I mentioned that we provide opportunities for students to network with industry partners, right? So EPD forum is one such platform where we provide the said opportunities. So in fact, we recently concluded the EPD forum last week with participating companies from Shell, Maybank, TTSH, Dyson, and AMD. It was pretty successful. So the event was very insightful with all the different reps from the company sharing their stories and also some tips with us. The EPD alumni sharing is an informal event where we call back, alumni to share their experiences working in their companies and also other adulting stuff. Yeah. We also do organize fun events like the EPD t-shirt design competition, and we actually made the EPD Instagram filter for the Christmas celebrations last year. So that was quite fun. Next slide, please. So on to the student sharing more about EPD life. So I chose EPD because of these reasons. Firstly, hands-on learning. EPD has got a lot of cool projects to offer as part of the curriculum. Like literally any EPD course, right? You can expect design projects that require some level of prototyping. So if you're someone who loves to make things and bring stuff that are tangible, then EPD is the pillar for you. Second, EPD is the best pillar and our profs are the best. And nobody can fight me on that, really. Our prof is super nice and very approachable. Some even appreciate lame jokes and will crack a lame joke like back at you also. So I think the profs are really passionate about the subjects that they teach. Yeah. Lastly, we have amazing welfare. We always get Gongcha vouchers. And last week during our welcome back session, we also got like $10 Grab food vouchers. Yeah. So if you come to EPD, rest assured you will be pampered. Yeah. Next slide. Okay, so these are actually some of the projects that I did in term 4 and 5. In the interest of time, I won't go into details, but you can always, hit the seniors up if you want to know in detail what we do. Next slide. So just my three key takeaways from being in EPD. First one is never be afraid to ask questions. When you have doubts, just go clarify the prof. They're really, really approachable. They will welcome you with open arms. So second, consistent hard work is really crucial. You shouldn't leave things to the end and try to cram everything. It never works. And third is textbooks are your friends too. I agree with this, especially when you're dealing with very abstract concepts. Textbooks are really helpful in being very comprehensive with the notes. So our profs are always encouraging us to read beyond the syllabus. That's all for me. Thank you so much.
Hi, thanks, Ravati, for the sharing. Next is Doron, who is an alumni and is actually working in the Robotics Innovation Lab. Doron, please. Hi, Doron. Are you sharing your slides? It seems that Doran's Zoom is ran out. So in the interest of time, perhaps I would like to invite Prof. Michi to start the Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Actually, Doran does have quite, an interesting set of slides to share. I hope he can come back and, kind of wrap it up. So, for the students who are here, please feel free, to ask any questions, go ahead and ask. As confusing as, your world is right now, we are open to any questions. So I guess, for some of you, all right, you may be concerned, like, there are other classmates that you have, all right, who, let's say, couldn't join in this session because they have classes today. Well, this is the time slot more or less, shared with us that's available for the pillar talks. What I can share with you is next Friday, all right, we will have additional so-called a pillar session, all right, but I will admit it is going to be highly targeted to the your term 3 friends, all right, because in term 3, which is 2 terms down the road for many of you, you will be choosing your pillars, right? So that will be a targeted session to really help clarify questions wherever possible, all right? So if you guys want, you can also sign up for it. Is there any chance for Freshmore to participate in the research of the profs? My answer to you is yes, of course.
Okay, I'm back.
Yes. All right, great. Doran is back. Just let me finish answering this one short question. All right.
Okay.
In my few years here, all right, I have basically guided students, who joined us in the second week in my lab as a lab attachment. All right. And gradually, after that period of time, they crafted their own Europe, and then submitted it as a Europe proposal. Then I've also had, encounters with students who, for some unknown reason, decided to work with us, basically with me and my collaborator for a couple of semesters. And just to be, frank, I don't think I'm the unique one. All right, I'm fairly certain that the other professors here, be it Xiaohui or Hong Yi, they have identical experiences of accepting, first year, first term, or even any term students. Okay. All right, Doran, you're back. Back to you.
Yes, I'm gonna leave my video off now because I think it's killing the thing. Okay, let me attempt to share my screen. Okay, let's share. Okay, can you see the screen? I can't tell. Okay, yeah, now I can't see the thing. Okay, never mind. All right, I'm Doron. So yes, as it says there, I'm an EPD pioneer. For those of you who have no idea what that means, that basically means that I was a student in SUTD very long ago, like very, very, very long ago. And I was in the mechanical engineering track, and I'm currently a research officer in SUTD. So I'm in what's called the Robotics Innovation Lab, which is basically I do robotics research in SUTD. So that's who I am. So a bit of background from me. So I'm Malaysian. If you don't understand these terms, never mind. I did SPM. I went to USA for student exchange. I did STPM. I was briefly in a university in Malaysia, and then I was in SUTD. But what all this really fast thing is basically to say, it really doesn't matter where you come from or what you were doing previously. You are here now, because quite frankly, it doesn't matter what you were before. Like, I don't care which JC you were before. I don't care what poly you were before. You're here now. So let's talk about now. Because quite frankly, when you have started working, which I'm now working, what you did in university becomes less important. So yes, now is the time to figure out what you want to do next. So what can you do now? So yes, what is EPD is what I'm trying to answer here. And I will try and slow down now because this is where it's important. So what is EPD to me, looking back as someone who's graduated a long time ago? EPD was a lot of projects, a lot of groups, and a lot of times. When I say times, I mean there were good times, there were bad times, there were very, very tired times. So yeah, EPD, this is my EPD batch. That's the entirety of my EPD batch. It looks like a lot, but it's actually not. This is the previous head of EPD dancing the chicken dance because. And yes, these are some of our EPD projects. So my EPD project that I remember the most was we made rolling robots. And the reason why the pictures are so weird is because the pictures are taken by a rolling robot. So someone made a rolling robot that takes pictures. You can see one that jumps there. You can see other rolling robots. And then we also turned our rolling robot into a line following robot. And this becomes really cool later. I'll tell you why. But yeah, so we created rolling robots, which are robots that are enclosed in a ball. And then we took the robot out of the ball and made it into a line following robot. And yeah, this will get really cool later, hopefully. But yes, EPD was just a lot of projects and a lot of different groups. And it was very, very tiring most of the time. And also, please note that when you're in EPD, you're not just in EPD, you're in HAS, you're in fifth rows, you're in internships. And this is very important. Not that EPD is not, but it's important that you have these things as well. So because, it's fun and you need to have a bit of fun, please. So yeah, I played the violin. I also played the flute. I was in the cultural group. I also did a bit of track and field. And I went to Cambodia for my internship. So yes, international internships. And I, interestingly enough, worked on explosive devices and landmines and 3D printing, all in one internship, which is a bit insane to think about. But yes, so what I'm trying to say is that looking back at EPD, okay, EPD was a lot of being taught different things. You're doing a lot of projects, you're doing a lot of group work, you're going through all of the different topics that Xiaohui covered just now, right? So you are being taught a lot of things, okay? And then EPD is also a lot of learning. And how learning is different is that you can be taught a lot of things, you can be spoon-fed a lot of things, but you really, really need to sit down and learn things. And how you do that is by doing your group projects and really trying to figure out what you're going to do. Because my favorite way to explain a lot of SUTD, a lot of EPD is you go into class, they will teach you A, B, C, D. Then they give you a project and your project requires you to do C, D, E, F, G, H. And all of the rest of the things that they never teach you is stuff that you learn, stuff that you look into, whether because you're excited about it or it's something you want to know more about, or like some groupmate of yours very crazy decided that now my rolling robot on the floor want to fly, so now the entire group needs to research how to make robots fly. This is all the learning, and that's very important. And I think Prof. Chua covered it, Hong Yi covered it, Xiaohui covered it. This is a hands-on, project-based, application-based, group-oriented, extremely messy curriculum, because there are so many things that you learn in EPD. And what's really important is that you are in an opportunity-rich environment. If you look at the note sharing just now, you do so many different projects. You look at Hong Yi sharing, you have so many different opportunities to do research. You really, really, really need to take advantage of that. And then if I look back and I answer what is EPD for alumnus, for us who have graduated. Now, first of all, for me personally, like I said just now, the line following robot, the rolling robot becomes really interesting because I went on to do that after I graduated. So after I graduated, I did robotics research and I worked on these small robots, which in many, many ways were very similar to the robots I used to build when I was a student, except that now they do like 10 times more things. My rolling robot last time just roll on the ground, follow a line. These ones that I worked on when I was working, they could map a room, they could detect a person via IR, they can climb a wall, they can have swarm intelligence, and all of the stuff that I was doing later on, it just felt like everything that I was doing when I was a student, plus. Like that's all the, when you were a student, this was what you're taught, and then now I have to learn how to do all of this when I'm working. So that whole mindset of being taught stuff and then learning extra beyond that is exactly what working is. And in work, guess what? You work in a group as well. So please, when you're in SUTD and you work with a group and you have bad group members and good group members, that is a very important learning step. Very, very important, because group work is essential. Those people who feel like, I want to work alone, right? Okay, you're going to die lah. Because as soon as you go into work, right, you have to work in a group. You have to, and if you can, right, it's incredible, it's amazing. Then okay, since people like a lot of stats, here are some stats about like where EPD people are. So this is specifically EPD. Just now the stats Prof. Chua share is about whole of SUTD. So specifically EPD, these stats. Okay, so we have a good 3/4 of us are employed. A good another like 1/4 of us are in post-grad and doing entrepreneurial stuff. And then of course you have people who never answer survey, so we don't know what they're doing. Apparently, Mechi says that one of them is in North Korea doing military service or something. But yes,
Not North Korea, South Korea.
Okay, South Korea, sorry. But yes, we are in a lot of places, and of the top 20 SUTD employees, as you can see, we're in a lot of the R&D places, DSO, Dyson, DSTA, Star GovTech, and we're also in Shopee. And I know that some of the juniors in Shopee are like product engineers, so they manage specific products and talk about how to sell them, because that's the EPD meets HAS kind of joining. And I guess the bottom line of that is that for EPD graduates, specifically EPD, everywhere and anywhere that we are, we're okay. Okay, so it's not like, oh, EPD the one that cannot find jobs, or ASD is the one. No, we're okay, we're doing fine. As an alumni, I can tell you that if you join EPD, don't worry about it, you'll find a job. It may not be in EPD related, but you can. Okay, here's the very important part of my sharing, and I like to call it failure to launch. Because when you hear failure to launch, usually it means the thing never take off. But I like to think of it as you move from failure to failure to failure to failure to failure, and then you launch. Because you will have to fail many, many times. So this is a picture of me in our first year. In fact, this is a picture of me after our first SUTD exam, which a lot of people failed. And everyone was passing out this sticker that says fail, so I stuck it on my sweater, because you will fail many times. In SUTD, you will fail many times. In EPD, you will fail many times. In life, you will fail many times. And I'm not going to give you any bullshit about like, it's okay, you fail as long as you get back up. That's no, you will fail because I like the saying is that failure is not an option. It's true because failure is not an option, it's inevitable. And this is something that you need to keep in mind. Some people learn from it, some people move past it. Just don't let it overtake your entire thing. And here are some other things that you need to do when you're in EPD. Okay, you need to enjoy yourself because there are way too many group projects. If you don't enjoy yourself, you will basically just die and be depressed. So please enjoy yourself. Make friends. And I don't just mean your cohort members. Make friends with other pillars because you'll see them again in capstone. Make friends with your professors because they know more than any of you. Make friends with the staff, like the security guard and like the people conducting facilities. Make friends, like make many friends, and learn good. What I mean by this, which is grammatically wrong, is that you need to learn the good things, and you need to learn these things well. So all of the time, you really need to be learning, and you seriously need to be learning the good things. There are many bad things that you can learn in SUTD, like how to never sleep and things like that. But learn the good things also. Okay, please do that. And then, okay, I'm at my final slide, which is a favor. Okay, and this was something like when I put together my slides, I like want to cry because I remember stuff. So my valedictorian, Olivia, who was from EPD, when we graduated, when she gave a speech, she quoted Stitch. You know the line in Lilo and Stitch where it says, Ohana is family, and family means nobody gets left behind. Now there's another scene in Stitch, right, where Stitch is going to be taken away from his home, right, and then he asks if he can say goodbye. Then after that, then the Empress alien person was like, oh, okay, who are these people you're saying goodbye to? And then Stitch goes, this is my family, and I found it all on my own. It's little and broken, but still good. And then there's another line he says, yes, still good. Now, SUTD is yours now, but okay, let's correct that. SUTD is ours, okay? SUTD is now our family. You are here now. I was there where you were once. I'm still here now because I love it so much. And it's a family, and it's little, it's broken, okay? SUTD broken, okay? But it's still good, okay? It's still good. And you need to remember this, okay? It doesn't matter, like, if you know Lilo and Stitch, and I'm a huge like Disney fan, right? Later on, they made an entire series, and the entire series was about him finding all these aliens, right? Which were very strange and don't fit into society, right? But they all got some special power. And the entire series is like, okay, I'm going to find this alien, I'm going to figure out where this alien's place is in society because it has this special power. Like, if you can create electricity there, I'm going to like, put you in a lighthouse so you can, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, what do you really want this place to be? What do you want SUTD to be? That's important, okay? Because it's small, it's broken, it's still good, and it's yours now. So what do you want it to be? And my favor is really, you need to make it good things, you know? And well, I will be around. I will see you around maybe, and hopefully I can see what you want to turn this small university into. And hopefully at the end of it, when you want to go away, right, you can look back and say, okay, it's your family, is little, is broken, but it's still good. And that's my favorite one. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Doran. So I think we can kind of go back to the Q&A. We kind of running short on time also, right, Kejin?
Yeah, we are 6 minutes over time. But I think if there's anything, please either unmute yourself or you can just type in the chat. So yeah.
I think not much more.
Yeah, I think unfortunately they have classes now.
Yes.
So yeah,
Correct.
but the recording will be up.
All right, I understand the recording will be up, so we'll share with the students, then we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Right, but for those who managed to make time, I think there's still a few of them hanging around here. Thanks a lot for joining us. You know, again, you know, if there is still questions that you would like answered, you know, there'll be another session for the term 3 students. You can choose to attend that too. you know, but basically don't hesitate to email us, any one of us here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another piece of advice from a graduate. So I graduated 1 year ago. Actually celebrated my 1 year work anniversary, right? And I also realized coming here we need to be thick skin, right? So really thick skin. So because if you just reach out, you never know. Even your mentors can even ignore you, right? They have too much emails, right? But you just reach out to any professor, any senior, right, in any of the fifth rows, or the seniors that you are sharing with internships and stuff like that. It is better as a community, like what Doron shared. We are better as a community than we are alone. Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. I think we can end the session now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kejin. Thank you, Doran.
Thank
And
you.
of course, thank you to Not.
Bye-bye.
And Xiaohui. Everyone here.
See ya.
See
Bye.
you.
See you
Bye-bye.
around. Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, let me see. Now left Catherine,